Logos are absolutely everywhere. On our phones, our clothes, our food, they're just part of the background. But what if I told you they aren't just little pictures? They're actually a kind of universal language, one that's been carefully designed to speak directly to our subconscious, shaping how we feel and what we buy, often without us even noticing.
Seriously, think about it. From the second you wake up, you are swimming in a sea of these brand marks. But so many of them are hiding these brilliant little messages right in plain sight. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and decode them together. You're going to start seeing them everywhere.
So here's the game plan. First, we'll look at some famous hidden images, the fun stuff. Then we'll dive deep into the psychology of how colors and shapes persuade us. After that, we'll learn a framework to decode any logo like a pro, trace a brand's entire life story through its design, and finally, we'll see what it takes for a logo to make it on the world stage.
Okay, let's kick things off with my favorite part, the hidden messages. These are those super clever details that, I'm telling you, once you see them, you just can't unsee them. It's almost like a brand's secret handshake with anyone who's paying close enough attention. This right here is a total classic, a masterclass in design. The FedEx logo, it looks so simple, right? So straightforward. But the designer, Lyndon Leader, he managed to bake the company's entire mission right into the letters. Take a really close look. See if you can spot it.
And there it is, that arrow. It so perfectly captures what the brand is all about. It's not just some clever trick, it's a symbol of forward momentum, of speed, of getting things done accurately. And what's wild is that the designer supposedly found it by accident while sketching, but putting it in was a totally deliberate, brilliant move. It doesn't shout at you, it just whispers, and it rewards you for taking that closer look.
Logos can also tell you a story about where a brand comes from, its heritage. Take Toblerone, for example. The Matterhorn mountain is pretty obvious, right? It even mirrors the shape of the chocolate. But look closer. Hidden inside that mountain is a bear. It's a tribute to Bern, Switzerland, the city where Toblerone was born. It's like a little piece of the brand's soul hiding right there on the box.
Seriously, once you start looking for this stuff, you see it everywhere. The two T's in the Tostitos logo, those are actually two people dipping a chip into a bowl of salsa. It's an image of sharing and having fun. And Baskin-Robbins, check out the pink parts of the B and the R. They form the number 31 for their original 31 flavors. See, these aren't just random Easter eggs. They are really smart, strategic ways to embed a brand's entire identity right into its logo.
So, those hidden images are really clever, for sure, but they're just one piece of a much, much bigger psychological game. The most powerful logos out there don't just influence us with what we see, but with how they make us feel. And that all starts with two really basic things: color and shape. Color is the very first thing our brain registers in a logo. Before we can even read the name, we feel the color. And that feeling is incredibly powerful. Get this, some research shows that picking the right color can boost brand recognition by up to 80%. That is huge. It's the difference between blending in and standing out, between being forgotten and being remembered.
Our reactions to color are surprisingly universal, and you better believe brands use this all the time. it is no accident that fast food giants like McDonald's and KFC use red to make us feel hungry and a little bit urgent. And tech and finance companies, from Facebook to IBM, they lean on blue to make us feel like we can trust them, that they're stable. And green, used by brands like Starbucks, connects them to nature, harmony, which is the perfect vibe for a place you go to relax, right?
And shape is kind of the other side of this psychological coin. Geometric shapes, squares, circles, triangles, they just feel stable and orderly. Think about the Microsoft logo. It suggests a reliable, structured system. But then you have organic, curvy shapes, like the Twitter bird or that famous Coca-Cola script. They feel more fluid, more creative, more natural. A brand's choice of shape is a very deliberate signal about what kind of personality it has. Okay, so we've seen the hidden images, we've explored the psychology of color and shape. Now let's tie this all together with a really powerful framework called semiotics. Think of this as our secret decoder ring. It's the tool that lets us analyze a logo not just as a picture, but as a cultural symbol packed with all these different layers of meaning. So, to put it simply, semiotics is basically the science of science. It gives us a way to break down a logo into its most basic parts and really understand the messages it's sending, both the ones it means to send and maybe even the ones it doesn't. It helps us see a logo not just for what it is, but for what it represents in our culture.
So how do we actually do it? Well, we can use this simple three-step method. First up is denotation. What do you literally see? just the facts. Second is connotation. What does it make you think or feel? This is the emotional layer. And third, and this is the big one, is myth. What larger cultural story or idea is this logo tapping into? This is the big picture narrative.
All right, let's put this tool to the test. We're going to decode one of the most recognizable logos on the entire planet right now. TikTok. I mean, on the surface, it's just a musical note. But if we use our 3 levels, we can start to see it's so much more than that.
Okay, let's break it down. Denotation, literally, it's a musical note with this glitchy 3D-ish color effect. Simple enough. Connotation, what does it feel like? Well, those bright, vibrating colors feel super energetic, youthful, dynamic, and creative. But the myth is where it gets really powerful. The TikTok logo has become a symbol for an entire cultural movement, of viral trends, of a new kind of entertainment, and of the creative power of a globally connected youth. It represents a whole new form of fame and self-expression.
Now here's the thing. Logos aren't static. They don't just pop into existence fully formed. They evolve, they change, and that evolution tells the story of the company itself, its ambitions, its mistakes, its big transformations. So let's trace the life story of one of the biggest companies in the world through its logo.
A perfect example of this is Amazon. If you go all the way back to 1995, when it was just an online bookstore, its logo literally had the Amazon River flowing through the A. As it got bigger, it went through a few, well, kind of awkward phases in the late 90s. But then in 2000, everything just clicked into place. The company finally found its true identity, and its logo perfectly captured that moment.
The Smile logo we all know today is an absolute work of genius because it has this perfect dual meaning. On one level, yeah, it's a smile, which represents customer happiness, a huge part of Amazon's whole philosophy. But it's also an arrow that points directly from the A to the Z. This brilliantly visualizes the company's huge ambition, to sell everything from A to Z. In just one simple, fluid mark, it manages to communicate the brand's entire business model.
So, let's say you've done it. You've designed a logo with a hidden message, the perfect colors, and a deep story. But there is one final massive hurdle you have to clear. Will it work everywhere in the world? In our globalized world, a logo has to speak a language that everyone can understand, or at the very least one that won't be completely misunderstood. And this is where things can get really tricky. Symbols and colors just do not mean the same thing in every culture. So, in the West, the color white signifies purity, innocence. But in parts of Asia, it's the color of mourning. Red can mean danger here, but it stands for luck and prosperity in China. An owl might be a symbol of wisdom in one culture, but it's seen as a bad omen in another. Without this kind of cultural knowledge, a brand can make a huge, catastrophic mistake. This really gets to the heart of it. A successful global brand isn't just about translating words, it's about having cultural empathy. A logo that doesn't respect local nuances doesn't just look silly, it can actually destroy trust and make a brand seem completely out of touch. And as this quote says, without that sensitivity, a brand can lose everything when it tries to go global. So now, you're equipped. You have the tools to see the world just a little bit differently. You can spot the hidden arrows, you can feel the psychology of color, and you can decode the cultural stories that are all around you. So the next time you see a logo, don't just recognize it. I want you to read it, because every single one of them is telling you a story. The only question is, what will you discover?